losing money or not seeing the returns you want, you are not alone, and it's not your fault. It's tough out there with all those big fish swimming around, but don't worry, we've got your back at Penny Boy Stock Alerts. Our veteran analysts do all the heavy lifting so you can focus on growing your portfolio. And the best part, thousands of hours of research from veteran traders are broken down into easy to read daily alerts sent straight to your phone through Discord or SMS text messages. Plus, get access to one-on-one coaching from our top analysts as well as over 100 trading education videos, 50 of which are 100% free. So click the link in the description to join our free trading Discord or head to pbalerts.com to start your trading journey.
What's going on, everybody? It's AMZN here. I'm here with none other than Mr. SLP and Swinging Bull. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, how you doing, Mr. SLP? I think he's muted. You're muted, mister.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing? It's like I'm an amateur hour over here trying to find where to turn the mic on.
That's hilarious. We're doing good. We're doing good. So all right, it is earnings season, and I mean, when I say it's earnings season, this is like, you know, this is the week of dreams and nightmares, depending on which side of the fence you're in. I can say for us personally in Penny Boys, we tend to play the run up to earnings and then the reaction to the earnings more than playing the earnings themselves. Because let's be real, it's like it's a lotto, it's a crapshoot. It's not even worth it really to play earnings. Do you guys agree with that? You like playing them? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, for me personally, I mean, this year, you know, earnings, when I play earnings, it's usually a lotto play for me. We've just seen too many surprises with the forward guidance. We've seen companies that beat EPS and beat revenue by a mile, and then they say a couple wrong words in their guidance, and the stock tanks, and vice versa. I mean, we've seen some earnings announcements and earnings releases where their EPS and revenue is horrible. I mean, they're, you know, not, the company's not doing good at all, but then they say some, you know, positive things in their guidance, and then the stock pumps. So it's kind of a little bit of a crapshoot for me. So I usually just take profit from previous plays, and maybe I'll do like a scratch off ticket play or something like that.
No, I agree. I think that, you know, we're always about lotto plays with earnings. And I think that a year or two ago, it was easier to predict the earnings. Now it's so unpredictable, right? So I like just to play the overreaction, to be honest. I'd rather play the next day reaction and cut all the lotto plays out personally.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Playing the reaction to the earnings, so you can get some
reaction.
That's
the best. That's the best way, because the volume's going to be there the next day, so it's always fun to play the reaction. What chart you got up there? Google Pepsi.
This is Pepsi. Pepsi at earnings today. I'm going to go over one play, what we could watch now that we already had earnings. For Pepsi in particular, I'm looking at that. We did hit our head on this this long-term trend channel. We could even extend this further out. We're hitting our head there, and we had some rejection around that area here. I'm going to put this on the 4 hours so we get a little smaller time frame on this. And what I'm looking at is this, all right? Let's watch this pink line area here. Because this was our last area that we hit our head on. That was a major resistance area. So I want to see a retest of this area right about here, right about 186 or so. And then I want to see that pickup of support. I believe if we hold 186, that our next push up, we're going to blast right over this trend line where we keep hitting our head. In the second part of this, if we continue to go bullish, we want to see a strong little push above our trend line with the retest. And that's where we would take our entry. I'm not really looking to take a bullish or bearish position within this area right here, unless it is a day trade. This little triangle right here, I'm not really wanting to take too much in that area. It's a lot of indecision. It was that impulsive move. Now the move has to make a directional decision. We had our impulsive move. We need to either come back and retest or push back out of this area. So this is just one to watch. Snowflake loves to play it in the Discord as well. Show some love to Snowflake. I know you're in here. He's been killing it, but that's kind of what I'm looking at here. And then a loss and a hold of 186. I'm going to go a little bearish, and we hit bearish there. We're coming down to 181, something like that. So it's just a little sneak peek play of how we would play the reaction of the earnings in the Discord.
I'm more of a Coke guy than a Pepsi guy, but I mean,
Sure.
I suppose it really doesn't matter if you're in a recession or not, right? People still drink the Coke, they still drink the Pepsi. And I mean, I'm looking at their financials real quick, just that we're talking about Pepsi. I think it's like their best year or their best 2 years in the past 5 years. So they've been really just stepping it up. Their income's increasing, revenues increasing, net income positives increasing. Like, it looks really good on the financial side.
All right. And so I'm going to go over a couple of my thoughts with some of the earnings today. And we're going to start with Google. All right. So I want to see in the chat right now, am I going to say I'm bullish or bearish on Google? I want to see a few of you give a comment before I give you some of my thoughts on this. Now, I was very bearish with Tesla. You guys know that. We put out the Tesla, reasons why. I love to dive into these. And it doesn't mean we're going to move that way. I just want to know what you guys think I'm going to say.
Let me take a peek at that chart and see.
It doesn't, I mean, the chart doesn't matter for earnings for me. I don't care what the chart shows. I can tell you that I'm definitely leaning. Okay, Richard V, you are correct. I'm leaning bearish. I am leaning bearish. Ad revenue. There's a lot of talk behind ad revenue taking a hit. That is Google's bread and butter. All right. On the other side of that, we have AI. Everybody's talking about AI. Of course, Google is going to rise to the cream of the crop and have the most comprehensive AI systems of any company. We know that. As of right now, it ain't Google, though. And that's just the reality of it. All right. Market share is under pressure. The layoffs really saving us money? And there's and I'm reading this off an article and a couple notes I put, and just a little bit of stagnant energy around Google overall. Of course, it's Google. It's a powerhouse. It's not going anywhere. But if that ad revenue is hit in any way, shape, or form on our forward guidance, it's going to come down hard. Yeah. And that's
something interesting with that, Amy.
Yeah.
Their expected quarterly earnings are actually forecasted to be down 13.8%. I think that has something to do with what you were saying with the ad revenue.
Yeah.
Now, the thing to keep note, if they're down more than 13.8%, I'm thinking bearish, for sure, because it's going to be. I mean, they're kind of already forecasting it's not going to be really good. But if it's even worse than negative 13.8% as far as their expected quarterly earnings, if it's worse than that. I see lots of selling going on because that'll kind of just, it's just not going to be a good number to come in below 13.8% on that one. So
absolutely agree. So what does that mean for our chart? I can tell you this: if we lose $100 in the reaction to earnings, which is a lot for Google losing 5% is catastrophic huge. That will make the whole market bearish coming into tomorrow, you would think, but not when we have 9 different top 5 companies having earnings in the same week. But what I'm watching is a loss of 100 with a hold. I think 96 is imminent. Now, Google is the type of stock that's known to eat back up its earnings overreaction pretty quickly. As you can see, even with bullish earnings, it breaks out and it comes down pretty quickly and restabilizes itself. 100 is the major line. All right. If we break and hold below 100, I'm getting a little bit bearish there down to 95. If we stay above 100 or bounce off the $100 area, then I feel we're okay and we can push back up to that 103 on the bear side. On the bull side, I mean, we're too high to really want to invest anything long term. I'm not touching Google right now at 105. I'm just not. Yes, we have massive upside. Do not get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I want to see us break out of this channel first. So on the upside, I want to see us well above 110 and holding to even consider any sort of position at this area. Yep. What do you guys?
That's exactly what I'm
thinking. DeAndre 25. Go to if you go to discord.gg/pennyboys and DM Mr. SLP, Amajama, or OG Nikki, we'll get you hooked up. We probably have a discount code for you as well. But that's
Yes,
the
we do.
Discord
We hook
website.
you up with that discount. Yeah, we get you in the door. Come join us.
Yes, come
For
join us.
Google though, I think that yeah, like you say, it's like a gamble for earnings, and you're not going off the chart. But if I was to go off the chart, I would say above 108, we go into the next channel, and we can probably push back to 115, 120. But that's above 108, 109. Then we have some clear skies to get back to that 120 again, but that really depends on earnings. I mean, it could really tank right off and come under 100 and start testing the 80s again. So yeah, it's I don't know. Overall, I'm bullish on Google. I think they're such a huge company.
For sure.
Hopefully, they get their whole AI figured out. That would be good. And then I think it will be long-term fine. But earnings, I don't know. It's like neutral to bearish myself.
Yeah, I'm thinking bearish. I agree 100% with Amy. I probably wouldn't go long on this until Google gets over 110. I'd feel pretty good there. That 110 area has been resistance in the past, specifically the beginning of February of this year. So just a couple months ago, couldn't quite get above 110. Ended up getting rejected quite hard and retracing all the way back down to 89 bucks, around there, 89, 90 bucks. And then just recently, we've had a couple interactions with the 110 level on Google, and that was on April 6th, so just not too long ago. And then again, just recently on April 14th, we tried to get above 110, just couldn't happen. Working on a red candle today. I did want to point out that the last 4 earnings that Google has had, the very next day after earnings were announced, the past 4 earnings, they've been red. Okay, so does this trend keep going? It's just something to take in consideration. And I do think a lot of analysts that do the forecast, usually they have kind of high expectations for Google. And then when Google doesn't reach those high expectations, then we get some negative sentiment from investors and it sells off a little bit. So it's kind of one of those things is, they're kind of, reaching for the stars with the forecasts. And when Google doesn't reach those levels with the earnings announcements, then investors take it negatively. So literally the past 4 earnings, the last report date, February 1st, they were down 3.29% in the red the next day after the announcement. October 24th, they announced earnings. And the very next day, they were down almost 10%. Same thing on July 25th of last year. They were down about 2.5% the following day. And then April 25th of last year, they were down 3.76% the day after earnings. So that's 4 earnings in a row that they were red the next day. And, I truly believe that they set pretty high expectations for Google. And sometimes their earnings could be good. But if it's not up to par with what's being forecasted, investors sometimes, a lot of times take that negatively, and then we see selling the next day. So it's just something to keep an eye on with Google, is they do have a history of being red the next day after earnings. And I think it's due to high expectations.
Agreed. What do you guys got? What stocks are you guys looking at? What is your thoughts?
I went into Microsoft, because Microsoft's another big name, right? And we were talking about before, Ben was talking about the whole, past earning releases for Google have been down. For Microsoft, same thing. I mean, the last, I'm going by the chart, and the last earnings, the last 4 or 5 were actually below what they estimated. So I'm leaning more bearish here. I think that we got a double top right there on that peak on the left and the peak on the right. So we got a double top forming, and we're seeing some selling off right now. But it really depends what kind of numbers they bring. If they bring strong numbers, and maybe they mention some AI technology, maybe some advancements there, then I think it could go bullish on that news. We all know what Microsoft does after hours, right? Normally it kind of steadies up, goes up, then dumps off, and then we see it by the end of the night green again. So kind of that's if I'm looking to the bull side, I would probably look for like a dip like that, buy into the volume into the end of the after hours again, and maybe do some scalping there. But looking at the chart, like right now, as you got it pulled up, we got a double top forming. We got some selling happening today. We've got a nice trend line. If you put a trend line from the bottom to the top, we can actually come down to probably what do I have here? 273-ish, like around 273. It could possibly be a bottom there, a support to hold. And if it decides to come on down with earnings, I would probably look at 273, or even if it really drops off, then I would probably look at 262.
That's what I was exactly what I was looking at, Lee, is, to be honest with you, Microsoft's been in this ascending channel. If you draw from October of 2022 to present time, you could actually just slap on a trend channel on that. And we're kind of sitting in the middle of the trend channel. And the bottom of that channel is right in the low 260s. I mean, so
260s, and we know Microsoft makes big moves on earnings, right? So if it's going to drop off, I think the implied move is, like they said, 4%. So, I mean, that's a pretty substantial move to the upside or downside. So, yeah, you're right. It could go definitely down to the low 260s easily if it's bad earnings.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree.
Let's think about it.
And one thing to remember, guys, about these are some of the strongest companies out there. Make no mistake, we aren't saying we're bearish long term. We're simply talking very short term thesis level. The next week, even just the end of this week, and finding some stability after that. These are just earnings reactions, and they're based off what the expectations are, analyst expectations, not about like the future of the company, whether it's bullish or bearish overall. So
no, Microsoft is one of the biggest companies in the world. I mean, of course, everyone's cutting jobs. So we got that. That's that all the big companies are cutting jobs, trying to bring down their expenses for recessionary periods. So I think that long term, Microsoft is one of the biggest. It's not going to go anywhere. But short term, like you say, I mean, we can easily see it come down to 260s on bad earnings. It doesn't mean that we don't see a nice, huge bounce the next day. Microsoft has done that in the past few earnings too. Like the next day have been super green after having a bad after hours with earnings. So it's going to be a fun one to play. I'm definitely going to watch this one after hours.
What's interesting about Microsoft is we actually just had bullish crossover. The 100 were lined up for the first time. Our MAs, the 20, 50, 100, 200 are lined up right now for the first time in a very long time. I'm trying to look when the last time was. It looks like it was back in February. We had a nice bull run in February, but we are lined up here now. That 100 crossed the 200 bullish just a couple days ago here. I would watch this 50 on the daily, see if we get picked up on the 50 on the daily, say 272. But we very easily can end up coming down to the 200 MA on this 260. That's a big level for me. Is our EMA 200, which is right around 261 right now. I think that's a major level. That's about 8%, 7% down from where we're at right now. That's definitely what I'd be watching. And then, of course, this lower trend channel as well, like Ben said, being in the middle of that. Yeah.
But you also got to think about it. It looks great now. It's like, oh, we're going to maybe test that 200. During the trading day, that could happen. But then after hours, like you say, everything goes out of the window, and we could see this drop $20 in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Yep. So I hope it holds up. So we can play some tomorrow, because it's going to be fun to play. But yeah, that realistically, I would like it to hit that 200 and hold that level. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
What do you got, Ben?
Yeah, what do you think?
What do you got? Amazon?
Yeah, I was looking at Amazon, just looking at some of their expectations. They have earnings on Thursday, April 27th, so here in a couple days. And just looking at some of the forecasts and some of the sentiment. I mean, investor sentiment is up, analyst sentiment is up. Earnings estimate sentiment is down. However, they are expected quarterly revenue to be up 6.9%. And they also are expected expected quarterly revenue is supposed to be up 6.9% for the forecast. Expected annual revenue up 8.3%. So they are expected to continue growing, but are they going to grow as much as the forecasts are saying? So a little bit of a crapshoot there. I think what I'm going to do is kind of pull a play from Lee's playbook and probably just play the reaction to the earnings. They've had, let's see here, the day after earnings. I mean, the past two earnings, they've been read the next day. So just something that, I don't really put a ton of weight on it, but just trying to see if I can pick up on any patterns or trends when we compare the forecast of the revenue and EPS to the upcoming earnings to the previous earnings. And to be honest with you, I'm probably just going to play the reaction. I do think there's a pretty solid level around $100 on Amazon. And the one thing why I'm going to wait to play Amazon after the earnings is because we recently just got rejected by the 200 moving average on the daily chart. We were above it there for a very short period of time, have since fallen below the 200 MA. Which is a moving average on the daily chart that a lot of investors like to use for overall trend direction and things of that nature. We also got rejected from the 200 moving average in early February of this year. So about a couple months ago, Amazon went up to 114, right where the 200 moving average was. And then the very next day, huge gap down, huge rejection, lots of selling from the rejection at that 200 moving average. So, I'm going to play the reaction after the earnings. If investors take their earnings positively, then I'll wait for the price to get back above the 200 moving average on the daily chart. And I think we can feel pretty confident going long there for a nice swing. If investors take the earnings announcements negatively, then obviously I think Amazon is going to break below that $100 mark, kind of that mental level. We do have the 50 moving average on the daily chart sitting right around 98.50. So I'll see, basically that'll probably be my cue to enter a bearish play, is if investors take the earnings for Amazon negatively, we lose the $100 mental level and then lose that 50 moving average, which is right around 98.50. I'm thinking a bearish play back into the low 90s.
Bring it back down to the 80s. Let's load up in the 80s.
And I'll tell you
Let's bring it back down.
And I'll tell you what, if I short it, if investors take the earnings negatively and I short it after the earnings back down to the low 90s, maybe even the high 80s, you best believe I'm taking profit and flipping the script and going long.
Yeah, you're going to be doing a switcheroo.
Yeah, I'll play both sides. I'll play it down back into the 80s, and then I'll take profit on the short position, and then I'll probably do some bullish put credit spreads, maybe even sell some cash secured puts below that to try and get a deal on the stock. But we got a plan for both directions, and I'm kind of thinking that if investors take this negatively, I'm looking forward to making money on the downside and then flipping the script and taking it long after that. So that's kind of my plan for Amazon.
As long as they don't have any rocket launches that go wrong or anything like that, I think Amazon will be fine. Because
this is an interesting chart. I mean,
I like the chart.
Yeah, if you look at this chart, I mean, we hit our resistance. A lot of other charts broke this downtrend we've had for the last couple of years. This has been in this downtrend and has hit its head on this same downtrend line since November of 2021. So we're sitting on a year and a half here of perfect rejection on this line right on the 200 MI. This is the third time we attempted to break over it. Couldn't break that 200. A lot of other stocks are above the 200 right now, including the SPY. But Amazon is not. So this tells me two things. One, it's exciting. I mean, this is an exciting one when it breaks over that. So for me, that 110 to 115 area, the break in the hold of that 200 and then a retest, I am going heavy at that point. I'll tell you what. That confirmation.
Long, I think.
Yep, absolutely. Heavy longs at that point. And then, like you said, if we get that heavy rejection for me, that's very interesting. I mean, I'm not necessarily going to play the downside in a longer term type play, but on the upside, there is a lot of interesting things here. But yeah, pop that 200 on, guys, draw that 10 line and wait for that breakout. It's a little trick. Just wait for that breakout out of this trend line and then the retest. So it's going to look something like this, and that's your entry. Watching for that breakout, get the impulsive breakout, come back, retest that trend line and or the 200 MA. Boom, that's your entry. When that retest passes, we take our play. That's it right there. Love it. So,
and then if it goes bad, guys, we see you at $80 and we load up with you down there.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
I'll back the truck up then.
Absolutely. And Amazon has underperformed the market pretty extremely over the last couple months here. We got some real strong runs. We've got a lot of these S&P big boy blue chips above the 200 right now. A lot of them substantially above the 200. Not Amazon. It hasn't opened and closed a day above the 200 since April of 2022. So no, not even. It was back in December of 2021. So that's big. That's something to watch. So, yeah. So you guys, I got any final thoughts on these before we jet on out of here and actually watch them?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big week this week, right? For the big companies. Yeah. We got Amazon, Google, Microsoft. These are big tech companies reporting earnings. Depending on the results of these earnings, I think we could finally have a clear direction on the overall market. Like I was saying before, I don't know if anyone caught me in Duckstream yesterday, but we basically said if SPY lost 410, that it would be going down to the 405 area, and that's basically what happened today. But depending on these earnings from these big tech companies, maybe SPY will actually pick a solid direction, whether it's up or down. And then maybe we'll have some more confidence as far as what kind of plays we're going to do moving forward, whether it's going to be bearish or bullish. Because for me personally, I like swing spreads, 30-day contracts. That's my bread and butter. And the past week or two with SPY, it's just kind of been. I mean, before today, it was trading from 410 to 415 for like the past week or so. Not really a clear direction. So I think these tech earnings is definitely going to give us a good indication on where the overall markets are going to go next week. I
agree.
What you got, Lee?
I have nothing. I was just going to say, if you guys want to try us out, you're new to our YouTube channel. I did put the link down there, but I think we just sign up. It's free. I mean, you can try us out in the free section. We have free alerts. We have free options. You can try us out and chat with us there before you take that next step to the premium pass. Where we give so much information there and so much data and plays. It's incredible. So yeah, definitely join us in the Discord, guys. And we'll be playing the earnings all week for the next couple of weeks. So come join us there.
Yeah. And also we have live trading tomorrow, 15 minutes before market opens, and we will be trading these live. I mean, today we had Tesla for like 40%. We had some Tesla bullish entries as well for over 65%. Come check us out right on this channel, 8:15 tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, that's about all we have for now in the Discord. Anyone who's part of Discord, Ben goes live in 30 minutes. And I'm going to pop all three charts from Microsoft, Google, and Amazon and Pepsi we went over. I will pop them into analyst ideas with a little write-up in the next few minutes here.
Thank you, guys.
Sounds good. Cheers, y'all.
You guys rock. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. See you guys next time.